I made a video just over a year ago that has received a lot of feedback, more so than maybe any of my other videos. And it deals with the nature of Shiva in comparison to Brahman, or Vishnu, or anybody else in that regard. And not that I get that many video views anyways on my YouTube channel, but it has received more than others. And I have to say, for the most part, negative, more likely, well, probably all from the Hindu population of wherever, India, wherever, because they love their god Shiva, no doubt. And that's to be expected, of course. But, excuse me, I wanted to clarify something that maybe helps people understand, and maybe they wouldn't respond with so much anger against my comparison of Shiva as being the exact same individual that Judaism identifies as Satan or Lucifer or the devil in Christianity. Now you have to remember that all of these identifiers are coming from a corrupt understanding of what the true nature of any individual is, let alone Shiva. And I'm not diminishing my view of Shiva in the least degree from the video I made a year ago. All I'm trying to do is clarify it, because most people run their lives on autopilot. And see, here's a concept. You've heard of the concept of enlightenment. Well, if you have a situation in outer space, for the most part, it appears the expanse is total darkness. And then there's a shining star here and there, or entire galaxies appear to be a star. But without that, it's total darkness. And then if you throw a planet out there or a moon, it reflects the light of a source that's actually creating light. And then you are able to see the reflected light. Well, there's an infinite more asteroids and rocks and planets than there are actual stars in the universe. Yet it appears total darkness, because most things do not create their own light. So from a spiritual standpoint, an enlightened individual creates their own light. And a person that's not enlightened is reflecting someone else's created light. So when people become defensive about how I identify Shiva, you need to ask yourself, are you a fully enlightened spiritual master that creates your own light, like Jesus or Buddha or Krishna? Or are you reflecting the light? Because if you're reflecting the light, why are you being defensive? Because it's not coming from you. You're making a stand based upon something that you don't have evidence or experience that allows you to create your own light. You're simply reflecting someone else's light. It is obvious beyond all reason from any intellectual that understands anything about spirituality that this reality we live in on this particular planet is under the power and authority, guidance of Lucifer from a Judaic or Christian standpoint. Now, from a Sanatana Dharma or Hindu, if you will, it might be assumed that Shiva is the greatest light bearer. And as you well know, in Christianity, that's how they identify Lucifer, as the light bearer. So he creates his own light. So when you take a stand against how I identify anything like that, is it your own personal experience that you're creating your own light that is against how I identify Shiva, or is it reflected light? Because if it's reflected light, then you're just being a puppet. You're not actually understanding the true nature of what is going on. Now, when I say Shiva is Lucifer, or the devil, or Satan, or whatever, I'm not judging this good or bad. It would be the equivalent of saying, well, chocolate ice cream is bad. And why? Because I prefer vanilla. Well, vanilla ice cream is no better than chocolate. They're just ice cream. One is different than the other, and you may have a proclivity towards one and against another. It doesn't mean one is good or one is bad. That is the proper perspective of evaluating the devil, Lucifer, God, Shiva, Vishnu, Brahman, whoever. It doesn't matter. All of these things have to be evaluated from a standpoint of what flavor of ice cream is it. If you don't like it, that's just your prerogative. Now, that's not making a value judgment that one is good and one is bad. So from the perspective of the end judgment, so to say, at the end of this kalpa of time, which is the wheel of samsara, this is continued forever, and at the end of this particular kalpa of time, again, another judgment will take place. And who's doing the judging? Well, it would be the creator of everything, meaning Brahman, or in the Christian viewpoint, God, not Jesus, but the God that Jesus prayed to, which most Christians are ignorant of. And this particular God doesn't like the flavor of Shiva. And at the end of this kalpa of time, Shiva will not be one with Brahman. But of course, the cycle starts all over again once Brahman decides to create another kalpa of time. And again, Shiva has the opportunity to create himself into what he is again. I'm not making a value judgment. I'm just saying there are different flavors, and I'm not reflecting light. I am creating the light. This is my own experience of what I know to be true. And so I have no animosity whatsoever, no hatred, absolutely nothing against the god Shiva. Nothing, absolutely nothing. But when I make the judgment where I want to spend all eternity, I do not want to be around Shiva. That individual, that personage of Shiva, is not the person that I want to be around for all eternity. And that's my prerogative to choose. And I choose to be with Brahman. I choose to be with God. I choose to be with Jesus, Krishna, whatever. And that is my prerogative to choose as a sovereign essence, uncreated and eternal. There's a Hindu story about how Vishnu and Brahma were tasked with finding the perimeters, if you will, of Shiva. And it says Vishnu went down as far as possible to find the depths of Shiva, and Brahma went to the top, and they never did find the extent of Shiva. Well, in the teachings in this reality, or in Hinduism or whatever, it is a corrupt understanding that, oh wow, well then that must mean Shiva is some great God, because they couldn't find the extent of Shiva. But you're not putting on your thinking cap. You're not thinking. You're just being a puppet if you think that, because all that's saying is we're all the same. Nobody understands the extent of Vishnu, or nobody understands the extent of Brahma. Nobody understands the extent of Brahman. Nobody understands the extent of me. I don't even understand the extent of me. When I say me, I'm not talking about this physical body, but I'm speaking of the essence that is far deeper, that most people are unaware of. The Atman, call it whatever you want. I don't care, but that personage, that thing, God does not know the extent, the height, and the depth of what I am. That's the purpose of this reality, to explore what capabilities, where I stand when compared against Brahman or Vishnu or Shiva or anything. So it's no big accomplishment. It's no big thing to say, well, nobody could understand the extent of Shiva. Big deal. Nobody can understand the extent of any individual or any God. That's just the whole point of reality. That's why Brahman created this reality, to allow us the ability to create ourselves so that others will know the extent of what we are. And Shiva happens to be a destroyer, and happens to be doing, by the way, what he thinks is the best thing to do, because none of us have had direct one-on-one contact with Brahman. Nobody has ever. Even Jesus said no one has seen the Father. Well, that's the whole point of this reality. Until you're one with that God, you're not going to be one-on-one with that God. That's just the way it is. There's a logical philosophy behind it, and I've discussed it in other videos, why that cannot be, but suffice it to say that Shiva is doing the best that Shiva can. And Shiva thinks he's the best God. He thinks he's doing the greatest good, that it's... But so does Lucifer. So does Satan. And the devil, I mean, that's just a made-up thing that Christians have created several hundred years ago. I mean, there's no such a thing as a devil. It's like saying there's a unicorn. I mean, it's the same craziness. Anyways, I got a sore throat. So I hope that clarifies things. As I said, I have nothing against Shiva, but I'm clarifying the personality of Shiva and why he's not my cup of tea. He's not my flavor. I don't want to be around Shiva for all eternity. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying I don't like an individual that destroys what I create. I don't like an individual that thinks it's okay to kill people and everything. I disagree with that flavor for me. But from his perspective, he thinks he's doing the best there is. It's the same thing in Christianity. You've got Lucifer and you've got Jesus. Both individuals think that they're doing the right thing. In the end, only one is right. That's the whole point of duality, that most people in spirituality have been brainwashed again. So, in short, if you are basing your belief system upon anything that isn't interior, meaning you're enlightened, then you're reflecting the knowledge and wisdom and understanding of someone else. And if it's ancient, then it's been corrupt. This particular world is the domain of Shiva, Lucifer, the devil, and as time goes by, he corrupts the written things more and more so. Anybody that takes these ancient manuscripts, be it the Bhagavad Gita or the Brahma Sutras or the Rig Vedas or the Holy Bible or whatever it may be, it's all a corrupt interpretation of the truth. Because see, what you're doing is you are personally making an evaluation between a written document as versus someone with the interior light in them. So why is it so important to base your understandings and your faith and your philosophy upon something that's thousands of years old? Where in the hell do you think that came from thousands of years ago? It came from an enlightened individual, and it was corrupted over thousands of years, and now you believe corruption, if that's what you choose over and above the pure light of an enlightened individual. I hope I'm making myself clear in that respect. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.